Jungle. Audio Jungle.
Alright, so it's Friday. I wish you all the blessed Friday ahead. And I welcome you to another exciting edition of From the Newspaper, streaming live from the premises of the Aces Hotel, Akpete, Ibadan. Good morning to you all. You are listening to MFM 97.3, where we set the agenda and project the truth. And don't forget, you can watch us live on Facebook at MFM 97.3. And as you're watching us, do well to like, comment, and share. Moreover, don't forget this program is in form of 3 segments. The first segment is the weather forecast report of 3 major cities in Nigeria: the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, the commercial city of Lagos, and the vibrant city of Ibadan. Well, the second segment on the show is the headlines making round of Nigerian newspaper, and as usual, let's bring 4 newspaper to you every morning: the Punch newspaper, the Vanguard newspaper, the Guardian newspaper, and the Nigerian Tribune. Well, the last segment on the show is the details to the headlines. My name is SHAQEEROH AKINYEMI.
Audio Jungle.
Alright, so moving on to the first segment on the show, which is the weather forecast report. And the first city I'm bringing on is the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. At 10 a.m. in Abuja this morning, it's cloudy with 25 degrees Celsius. At 11 a.m. it's mostly cloudy with 26 degrees Celsius. And at 12 p.m. it's intermittent clouds with 27 degrees Celsius. At 1 p.m. it's mostly sunny with 28 degrees Celsius. And at 2 p.m. it's partly sunny with 28 degrees Celsius. At 3 p.m. it's partly sunny with 28 degrees Celsius. And at 4 p.m. is partly sunny with 27 degrees Celsius. At 5 p.m. is partly sunny with 26 degrees Celsius. And at 6 p.m. is mostly cloudy with thunderstorms with 25 degrees Celsius. At 7 p.m. is intermittent clouds with 23 degrees Celsius. And at 8 p.m. is partly cloudy with 23 degrees Celsius. At 9 p.m. is mostly clear with 23 degrees Celsius. And at 10 p.m. is clear with 23 degrees Celsius. At 11 p.m. is clear with 22 degrees Celsius.
Audio Jungle.
Alright, so moving on to the commercial city of Lagos. At 10 a.m. in Lagos this morning, it's intermittent clouds with 28 degrees Celsius. At 11 a.m. is mostly cloudy with 29 degrees Celsius. And at 12 p.m. is mostly cloudy with 29 degrees Celsius. At 1 p.m. is mostly cloudy with 30 degrees Celsius. And at 2 p.m. is mostly cloudy with 30 degrees Celsius. At 3 p.m. is mostly cloudy with 30 degrees Celsius. And at 3 p.m. is mostly cloudy with 30 degrees Celsius. At 4 p.m. is mostly cloudy with 30 degrees Celsius. And at 5 p.m. is mostly cloudy with 29 degrees Celsius. At 6 p.m. is mostly cloudy with 28 degrees Celsius. And at 7 p.m. is mostly clear with 28 degrees Celsius. At 8 p.m. is mostly clear with 28 degrees Celsius. And at 9 p.m. is clear with 28 degrees Celsius. At 10 p.m. is clear with 27 degrees Celsius. And at 11 p.m. is mostly clear with 27 degrees Celsius.
Audio Jungle.
So moving on to the last city on the first segment, which is the vibrant city of Ibadan, where we are streaming live from. At 10 a.m. in Ibadan this morning, it's intermittent cloud with 27 degrees Celsius. At 11 a.m. it's intermittent cloud with 29 degrees Celsius. And at 12 p.m. it's thunderstorms with 30 degrees Celsius. At 1 p.m. it's cloudy with 31 degrees Celsius. And at 2 p.m. it's cloudy with 32 degrees Celsius. At 3 p.m. it's cloudy with 32 degrees Celsius. And at 4 p.m. it's mostly cloudy with 31 degrees Celsius. At 5 p.m. it's mostly cloudy with 30 degrees Celsius. And at 6 p.m. it's intermittent cloud with 29 degrees Celsius. At 7 p.m. it's intermittent cloud with 28 degrees Celsius. And at 8 p.m. it's partly cloudy with 26 degrees Celsius. At 9 p.m. it's mostly clear with 25 degrees Celsius. And at 10 p.m. it's clear with 25 degrees Celsius. At 11 p.m. it's clear with 25 degrees Celsius.
Audio Jungle.
on to the second segment on the show, which is the headlines making round of Nigerian newspaper. And the first newspaper we're bringing on this morning is the Punch newspaper. The lead story on the Punch newspaper this morning says, Southwest states tighten borders, aimed the boundary surge in Kwara, and page 2 has the details to that story.
Audio Jungle.
Lots of riders to that story. The first rider says, Osun Ondo deployed tactical teams, rout police in border communities. Southwest states fortified against attack, says Amotekun Corps. Another rider says, intelligence agencies track bandits, planned containment. And the last rider says, eliminate criminal elements, CDS charges security forces, and page 2 has analysis to that stories. Above the line of the Punch newspaper says, Obi won't join dollar rights premise. Obedient reply article in page 27 has the details to that story. Rivers Fund, ICPC reviews petition against IBAS, and page 14 has the details to that story.
Audio Jungle.
Electricity Act, poor Nigerians orders to get tariff relief, and page 23 has the details to that story.
Audio Jungle.
Story on the Punch newspaper says EU canvasses urgent reform before 2027 poll, and page 7 has the details to that story.
Audio Jungle.
Oluwo ridiculing Yoruba monarchy, says traditional rulers, and page 7 has the details to that story.
Audio Jungle. Bullet kills Osun graduates after NYSC call-up, and page 4 and 5 has the details to that story. And the last story on the Punch newspaper says, NAFDAC destroys 15 billion naira fake expired drugs in Oyo, and page 14 has the details to that story. To the Vanguard newspaper. The lead story on the Vanguard newspaper says 2027 post EU mission seek constitutional and judicial reform, and page 5 has the details to that story. And there are two riders to that story. The first rider says delay of electoral reform worries INEC's chairman, says uncertainty over illegal framework could disrupt preparations, and page 5 has the details to that stories. Tinted glass permits outrage as police begin enforcement, and page 4 has the details to that story. Audio Jungle.
Another story on the Vanguard newspaper says, emergency, Sanwo-Olu seeks regional support for enhanced performance. story says flood looms as Kanji, Jeba, SHAQEEROH, Zungeru dams scared to set discharge excess water. Edo NSCDC commandant slums dies at public function. Kaduna police bust drugs, child trafficking, arms rings. Another story says court hears suit against DP Hyde veered in Pan-African Tours buy-house disputes.
Audio Jungle.
Okiola killings trigger calls for state of emergency in Kwara. Another story on the Vanguard newspaper says democracy gasping for Brit as opposition voice silence. Moving on to the Guardian newspaper, the lead story on the Guardian newspaper says how Brown Nigeria suffers for misdeeds of few abroad, and page 4 and 5 has the analysis to that story. CDS, falling family system, values worsen insecurity, and page 3 has the details to that story. Nigeria's health system performing at 45% capacity, and page 3 has the analysis to that story. The Guardian newspaper, another story says tinted glass, NBA foams as police impound Jaws vehicle, and page 3 has analysis to that story. Two days after independence, bitter divisions persist over nation's future, and page 6 has analysis to that story. Article rules out quitting presidential race, laments PDP woes, and page 6 has the details to that story. Another story on the Guardian newspaper says EU hails the electoral progress, aimed push for reforms, and page 7 has the details to that story. Sanusi Awosika seeks 30% representation level playing field for women, and page 7 has the details to that story. Now to track 24 hours call duty limits through chief residents 91 centrals and page 29 has the details to that story. And the last story on the Guardian newspaper says, ex-commissioner decries Kwara insecurity as bandits abduct policemen. And page 30 has the details to that story. And moving on to the last newspaper on the second segment, which is Nigeria Tribune. Nigeria at 65, PDP carpets Tinubu, says president speech boring, uninspiring, full of lies, and page 3 has the details to that story. Osun Assembly wants bank for not honor unauthorized financial institution on local government accounts, and page 4 has the details to that story.
Audio Jungle.
Increases Lautech hospital security guards salary from 18,800 to 80,000 naira. I am ready to step down for younger candidates if, says article. Edo NSCDC commandant is dead. Tinubu is businessman, not president, says Odumeji. Amak election, I will be on the streets with ADC candidates. Peter Obi's declared.
Audio Jungle.
Access to VC, lecturers inspire learning in Bowen, says overhaul best nursing graduates.
Audio Jungle.
Another story on Nigerian Tribune says, unless you leave this earth, I will fund you with everything, says rude boy tells rape accuser. Akwa governor dissolves board commissions. Remi Tinubu commissions Federal Medical Centers, Kumo. Anambra monarchy decries the alleged defamation of chapter by Catholic priests. Ohanaeze calls for unconditional release of IPOB leader Nnamdi Kanu. non-oil exports hit $1.79 billion in first quarter of 2025, says NEPC. NBA appraised Laker impersonator as magistrate court. Story on Nigerian Tribune says, urge expectation as Ladoja, 44th Olubadan mounts the throne. Alright, so before we divert into the last segment, let's go on a break. Stay tuned, I'll be right back.
Ìgbà tó tó gbá ní í ṣe baálé ọba gbọ́migbọ́mi, kọ̀ǹkọ̀ tó tún kọ̀ǹkọ̀ ní í ṣe ọba wọn lálẹ́ odò. Bó jẹ́ tìròyìn tó pójú owó, orin tó dùn ún gbọ́ létí, àṣà, ẹ̀fẹ̀ àtàwọn ọ̀rọ̀ ìṣítí lọ́lọ́kanjọ̀kan. Ìkànnì MFM rédíò ọba ló jẹ́ láwùjọ rédíò.
The Aces Hotels and Conference Center is one and only event place with a clear difference and tasteful excellence here in the ancient city of Ibadan. For your next and upcoming event, whether marriage engagement, wedding reception, anniversaries, conferences, seminars or birthday, the Aces Hotels and Conference Center is affordable and fully equipped with all imaginable ultra-modern facilities for your total convenience without headache, security, power, environment, parking space, and royal service by their staff. All roads lead to the Aces Hotel and Conference Center today at kilometer 2.5 Ijokodo Akbete Akufo Road, Akere, Ibadan. For booking and more information, call 080-8746-7420, 080-9744-1898, or 080-2869-0012. The Aces Hotels and Conference Center, where comfortability speaks in words.
MFM fún ìdálárayá, ètò àsìkò, ìkọ́nilẹ́kọ̀ọ́ ìgbà gbogbo. MFM ní kẹ́ ẹ máa gbọ́, ẹ má gbé kúrò níbẹ̀ nígbà gbogbo. Ẹni tó bá níjó tí ò jó, ẹni tó bá ráyọ̀ tí ò yọ̀, ọjọ́ tí ò pẹ́ ni ó sunra rẹ̀ láwọ̀ ara. MFM ló ní kẹ́ ẹ rí jó, kẹ́ ẹ jó, kẹ́ ẹ ráyọ̀, kẹ́ ẹ sì máa yọ̀. MFM ni ẹ máa gbọ́, ni ẹ máa wò nígbà gbogbo.
Àjànàkú kọjá mo rí nǹkan fìrí tá a bá rere káwé bá rere. Ìkànnì MFM Radio and TV, ẹ̀yẹ tí ó dorí kodò bí àdó sí. Ẹ má yí kúrò ń bẹ̀ fún ìròyìn tí ò lábùlà, ìròyìn eré ìdárayá, orin tó dùn gbá létí, àṣà, ẹ̀fẹ̀, ọ̀rọ̀ ìṣítí, gbogbo tẹ́ ẹ fẹ́ gbọ́, gbogbo tẹ́ ẹ fẹ́ mọ̀ lójú kan ṣoṣo, òun náà ló wà ní ìkànnì MFM Radio and TV. Àjà ló lẹ́rù, irọ́ ni pẹ́pẹ́ bá.
gbogbo náà gbogbo bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣe sọ ní nǹkan tọba wọn fẹ́ gbọ́ mi dáadáa tó sì fẹ́ máa rí wà wò dáadáa MFM and TV oníkọ́ lọ tọba ti débẹ̀ gbogbo bí kíbi lórí social media wà bá wọn pàdé gbó májè tán májè kémi kò gbé ọ̀tún àbáyé o tèmi ni ó ṣe o ìdí mo sọ yìí òní ọgbọ́n MFM and TV iléeṣẹ́ tó ní àbá àjẹjẹ́ àgbà ló kọ̀ mí o. Salaam alaikum.
Audio Jungle.
Alright, so welcome back to the show. It's still from the newspaper. Don't forget you can watch us live on Facebook at MFM 97.3. As you're watching us, do well to like, comment, and share. We are now in the last segment of From the Newspaper this morning, which is the details to the headlines. And the first story bringing us this morning says, Southwest states tighten borders aimed banditry surge in Kwara. States in the southwest are tightened security following the surge in attack on the communities and killing by the suspect bandits and terrorists in neighboring Kwara State. Security Chief in Oyo, Osun, Ekiti, and Ondo State confirmed to the Punch on Thursday that they had activated various containment plans to prevent the infiltration of their states by bandits fleeing the ongoing military operation in Kwara. This came to the federal government uncover the movement of the bandits heading to southwest region from Kwara. The Punch gathered that the bandits, who recently attacked several communities and killed many residents in Kwara State, are being tracked by the intelligence agency to ensure they don't advance to Oyo and other southwest states. Sources said that an intelligence report detailed activities and movements of the bandits was receiving attention and the high-tightening level of the government. It was gathered that a containment strategy has been activated to address the concerning developments. On September 29, 2025, suspected bandits killed at least 12 members of the local forest guard units in Okiode, Ifelodun local government area. The attack resulted in the 4 wounded individuals and the death of traditional chief. 6 days earlier, on September 23, suspected terrorists launched a midnight raid in Makinodo Nandi community in Edu local government area, adopting a woman and a teenager girl. This incident inciting the tension in the area, with many residents fleeing their homes. In addition, attack on Sunday, the terrorists killed 15 vigilantes, a traditional ruler, and other residents, adopting 5 others in Okiode community. This plunged the community into a grief, with thousands of residents fleeing for fear of renewed attack. The Kwara State Governor Abdurrahman Abdurazak condemned the attack and called for the increased military presence. The hoodlums has also launched a coordinated raid on several communities in Patigi and Lafiagi, killing a pregnant woman and abducting at least 18 residents. This attack has forced many vigilantes to flee to Ilorin and other safer towns. Abdurazak on Thursday visited Okiode to commiserate with the bereaved families and assure them improved security. The governor, who was accompanied by the head of security agency in the state, held a brief meeting with the stakeholders from Okiode and the neighboring Baja. Among these present were the national president of Okiode Development Association, Alhaji Abdulganiu Ajala, Elder Oyin Zubairu, and the youth leader of the community. In the video obtained by the Punch, Abdurazak prayed for the repose of the soul of the dead, while the commanding security force forest guard and vigilante for repelling the attackers. NAFDAC destroyed 15 billion naira fake expired drugs in Oyo. The National Agency for Drug and Food Administration Control on Thursday destroyed fake expired substandard and false food drugs and a product value of 15 million naira in Ibadan, Oyo State. This was announced by the Director General of the agency, Professor Mojisola Adeyeye, during the destruction in Ibadan, in the state capital. Represented by NAFDAC's Director on Investigation and Enforcement, Martin Ilumoyede, Adeyeye said the agency remained resolutely committed to ensuring that food, drugs, cosmetics, medical devices, chemical, packaged water, and drinks were saved, wholesome and effective human for consumption. The DG appreciated the support of the police, Nigeria Army, Department of State Service, NDLEA, Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, and Pharmacultural Council of the Nigeria, amongst others. She therefore urged the stakeholders to educate their families and world about the danger of the patronizing quack and unauthorized medical dealers. SK Tijani, who spoke on behalf of the Controller General of the Nigerian Customs Service, Bashiru Adeniyi, stated that there was a synergy between the custom and NAFDAC in the fight against fake, expired substandard, and the wholesome drugs and products nationwide. He said all stakeholders must play their part in ensuring that the nation is free from criminal activities. Stray bullet kills Osun graduate after NYSC call-up. Troop of 6 Bariga Nigeria Army, Sector 3 Operational Wari State. This contained in a statement released on Wednesday by Umar Mohammed, Acting Assistant Director, Army Public Relations Officer 6, Nigeria Army. He quoted Bridge, the Kwara commander of the bridge, commends the troop for their swift response in resilience and professionalism.
Audio Jungle.
ICPC reviews petition against TIPAS. The Independent Corrupt Practice and Others Related Offences Commission has confirmed receiving a petition demanding a probe into the handling of Rivers State federal allocation by the state former sole administrator Vice Admiral Ibok Ete Ibas. The petition filed by the civil rights against the lawyer Deji Adeyanju came days after Ibas ended his administration of the state on September 18. Speaking with the Punch on Thursday in the Abuja, ICPC spokesperson Demola Bakari confirmed receipt of the petition, noting that it has been forwarded to the Commission's legal department for review. Adeyanju's September 23, 2025 petition was titled Petition for the Investigation into the Financial Expenditure of Vice Admiral Ibokete Ibas, former sole administrator of Rivers State. The activists urged the ICPC to urgently investigate Ibas' financial activities during his administration between March 18 and September 17, 2025. Quoting official data from the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation, Adeyanju claimed that Rivers State under Ibas' control received a total of 383.3 billion naira, including internal generated revenue. He explained that the figure comprises 36.6 billion naira in the local government allocation for January and February 2025, which had previously been withheld, and 246.7 billion naira in the state's local government allocation between March and June 2025. Despite this massive inflow, Adeyanju alleged that there was a little or no evidence of tangible developments carried out by the administration. The Punch reported that last Wednesday, Ibas was in Aso Rock to meet President Bola Tinubu. This closed-door meeting held as the chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Ola Olukuyede, and the Minister in Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, in attendance. This was 3 days after Ibas rejected call by the Rivers State House of Assembly to probe spending during his 6-month watch. However, there was no official statement from the presidency as the sub-purpose of the last Wednesday meeting. Police arrest officer, Unipol student over cult-related violence. The Rivers State Police Command says it has arrested 2 suspected cultists and recovered firearms and ammunition during the sign-out ceremony for final-year students at the University of Port Harcourt. In a press release signed on Friday by its public relations officer, Grace Iringe Koko, the command said the suspect, a police officer, asked the students were getting ready to clash with the viral cultists before their arrest. During the initial search, the PPRO said weapons including pistols, ammunition, and axes were recovered. The command said that the suspects were exhibits are currently in police custody as an in-depth investigation is underway to determine the full extent of their involvement and the activity of the compliance. The Punch online recorded that the Rivers State Police Command last week also arrested a security guard simply identified a good day over the alleged abduction of the deformity of a 14-year-old girl in a Monachat Axis Trans Amadi in the Port Harcourt. The suspect was said to have been arrested last Tuesday by the officers of the Amadi Police Division in partnership with the security personnel of another bank adjacent to the scene of the crime.
Audio Jungle.
Nigeria entitled to compulsory health insurance, says Falana. Human rights lawyer Femi Falana, Senior Staff Education of Nigeria, has said that the Nigerian is now allegedly entitled to compulsory health insurance under the National Health Insurance Authority Act of 2022. According to him, 2022 law represents a major policy and legal shift toward making universal health coverage a legal of operational reality for all Nigerians. He noted that the Act mandates the enforcement of basic minimum package of care for all citizens, while also establishing the Vulnerable Crops Fund to subsidize care of the poor, early children under 5, a person living with a physical or mental disabilities. Falana added that state governments are required to operate their own health insurance scheme for engage the third-party administrator until such schemes are established. He explained that the directive also empowered the security to government of the Federation to enforce enrollment and mentorship compliance, potential expanding health coverage significantly across the public institution. Falana further said that the NHIA Act mandates the governments of the 36 states and Federal Capital Territory to provide a basic minimum package of the care to all residents of Nigeria in line with the Basic Health Care Provision Funds under the National Health Act 2014.
Audio Jungle.
Kicks as police begin tightening glass permit enforcement. The Nigerian Bar Association has vowed to provide free legal service to Nigerians harassed by the police over the controversial tinted glass permit, which is described as illegal. The NBA topped the section on public interest and development law, said the police has no constitutional basis to impose fee or annual renewal of motorists, warning that the enforcement of the policy was both unlawful and revenue-driven scheme. Edo stressed that the matter is already in court and accused the police for being lawless by commencing enforcement. The suit filed by the incorporated trustees of the NBA seek the declaration that the motor vehicle provision of tinted glass, Decree 1999, is unconstitutional and inconsistent with the 1999 Constitution, and that motorists cannot be compelled to pay fee for renewal paints. It also said that the injunction threatened the police from further arrest, harassment, or extortion under the police. It further held that the law cited by the police provided the measurable standard for tinted and incompatible within modern vehicles that often come with the factory-installed tinted windows. Eruga also noted that the successful Inspector General of Police had in various times suspended to permit regime, declaring it free, indefinite, or unnecessary. Government dissolved both commissions. Governor Umuenu of Akwa Ibom State has dissolved all statutories and non-statutories board and commission in the state. The decision, which takes immediately effect, was announced in Uyo on Thursday by the Secretary to the State Government, Prince Enubuhua. According to the SSG, the governor acted under the Statutories Board Special Provision Law 2023 and directed the affected chairman and a handover to the most senior officers in the establishment. He further instructed that all government properties in the custody of the affected chairman to return to the ensured smooth transition. The Tribune correspondents report that the development, which makes the major shake-up in the state, governor's structure, and earlier has been hinted by the governor Heno during the media chat to mark Akwa Ibom's 37th anniversary in 2024. At the time, the governor said it was waiting for the right time to recognize its administration and promised valedictory season to appreciate commissioners and board members for their contribution to the state's growth. Says Makinde increases Lautech Hospital security guard salary from 18,800 to 80,000 naira. All State Governor Seyi Makinde has raised the salaries of 67 security guards at Latoke Akintola University of Technology Lautech Teaching Hospital from 18,800 to 80,000 naira, following their emotional appeal during its visits to the facility. During an interactive season with the hospital recently, one of the guards narrated their struggles. He also spoke about their poor welfare and the hardship of catering for families and the migrant pays. The governor, after asking about their earnings, was told they receive 80,800 monthly. The hospital representative explained that the guards were not paid on the hospital payroll, but as sources, with the outstanding, the companies receiving 27,000 per guard. Makinde has announced that the 67 guards would be converted to a ad hoc caste to place on a new monthly salaries of 80,000 beginning in October.
Audio Jungle.
To step down for younger candidates, says Atiku. A key contender in the opposition coalition African Democratic Congress (ADC), Atiku Abubakar, has stated that he is ready to step aside for the younger, vibrant and acceptable presidential candidate in the 2027 election, provided the candidate's image under the ADC platform. Atiku emphasized that his interest in the 2027 race is not about personal ambition, but also providing a credible alternative to rescue Nigerians. He further challenged the younger Nigerians to actively participate in politics, stressing that he would fully back them if the such candidates were picked to contest for the presidency. The former VP also denied claims that he was desperate for the nation's highest office, declaring that he was only interested in rescuing Nigeria from the people that have been held in hostage.
Audio Jungle.
And the last story on the story this morning says Tinubu is a businessman, not a president, says Odumeji. The Provost Chukwuemeka Odumeji, popularly called Odumeji, has incited a storm of controversy across the social media with the blasting quoted President Bola Tinubu, who we flattery describe as a businessman rather than be a president. In a viral video that has drawn widespread attention and the diverse reaction of the anti-controversy cleric, who goes by the Monisoko in Spoke, ordered the measure of the leadership in lines with their commitment to the national development and the welfare of their citizens as standard in the belief in the government of current administration. Odumeji strictly constructed President Tinubu with his viral global figures he held in explanatory nation builder, including former U.S. President Donald Trump, Burkina Faso leadership, Ibrahim Traoré, and China's President Xi Jinping.